Hi, my name is Adriana, and for my Gardner research project, I chose to explore alternative criminal justice systems from a game theoretical perspective. I focused primarily on modeling a system created by Danielle Sered, author of Until We Reckon and founder of Common Justice, a restorative justice center in Brooklyn, New York. The U.S. criminal justice system assumes defendants want lenient sentences and victims want harsh sentences. Due to backlog courts and other bureaucratic complications, most cases end in plea bargains where defendants plead guilty to a lesser crime than they were originally charged with in exchange for a shortened court process and a lighter sentence. The first stage of my research was focused on creating a model of the current criminal justice system in order to understand why most defendants opt for plea bargains. Suppose a defendant commits a crime and is offered a plea bargain and is facing either a lenient or harsh prosecution. I assigned utility values for these scenarios, and I plugged them into a 2x2 game I created that resembles the prisoner's dilemma. I found that the defendant is most likely to take the plea bargain in every situation. What this means in real-world terms is that even on the day that the defendant pleads guilty in court, the defendant has never truly admitted to what they've done. They plead to a lesser crime and serve a shorter sentence, resulting in a general lack of accountability of the defendant to the system. Note also that the victim is assumed to want prison sentences, but they are being spoken for by the prosecution. The system assumes that the victim does not want to participate in sentencing or deciding how the conflict should be resolved. Their voice is pretty much left out, leaving no option for personal accountability of the defendant to the victim. In the words of Sered, time after time, victims tell the parole board that they still feel exactly the way they did the day the crime occurred. 10, 15, 20 years later, they feel the same. The second stage of my research was focused on creating a model for the restorative justice system started by Sered. The model I created is based on a variation of the Ultimatum Game and is played as follows. The defendant and the victim both offer a proposal for a way the defendant can be held accountable for their actions, what Sered calls doing sorry. If at any time in the game both parties agree their proposals are equivalent, for example, if the defendant proposes that they be banned from driving, and the victim proposes the defendant be banned from using public transit, but in the end both agree these ways of doing sorry are of equal weight, then the defendant goes forth with putting their proposal into action. Otherwise, discussion ensues. After discussion, new proposals are made. This time, if the defendant's proposal is perceived by the victim as greater than the victim's proposal, the average of the proposals hold. This is a reward to the defendant for holding themselves accountable. Otherwise, the higher proposal holds. In essence, I hope my model will inspire further analyses of how restorative justice can be used in place of our current criminal justice system. In the long run, I hope this research will encourage new restorative justice systems to be developed. Thanks for listening.